Hello, this is Dee from Backpack Journeys. I thought I would just give you a recap, let you know where I'm going to be when I don't have that many videos to put out here in the next few months. Just what I plan to do for 2020. In 2 weeks, I'm taking my last trip for 2019. In 2 weeks, I'm going to take the Amtrak's Empire Builder train, which goes from Chicago actually to Seattle, but then it splits off and I'm going to Portland. I don't want to stay in Seattle. I think I want to stay in Portland. So I'm going to leave before Thanksgiving, go to New York for 3 days. I love New York and Thanksgiving. I was there 2 years ago. And I'm going to the Upper West Side this time, so I'm going to try to get some videos of things and places and restaurants, whatnot, that most people don't see when they go to New York. I'm going to try to stay out of the touristy areas except for the parade. I will get in the mix for the parade. That should be interesting to do. Then from New York, I'm going to go to Chicago. Chicago is where I'd pick up the Empire Builder. Now this trip should be interesting. I want to go see some snow, because I'm down here in North Carolina and I don't know if I'm going to see snow again. I like to see snow and I like snow around Christmas time, so I'm going to take the Empire Builder, which goes up through Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Washington, and then I'm going down to Oregon. I've never been that part to the Pacific Northwest, never been to these states at all, except for Illinois and Wisconsin. I have quite a few times. The interesting thing about this trip is that I'm following a Facebook group for the Empire Builder, and it seems to be at times coming back late. One day, I think it was last week, a week before last, it came back 13 hours late. I have a 3-hour window period getting back to Chicago for when I need to take the train out from Chicago to Washington, D.C. So if I miss that train, it's going to be really interesting. The first time I went on the across country, went on the California Zephyr a year and a half ago. The train got canceled, so it's not the first time this has happened to me. It's the first time it's happened to me in the dead of winter. I mean, dead of winter for me, because it's actually like 6 o'clock. My phone wants to ring and nobody ever calls me. Oh. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Phone wants to ring, nobody ever calls me. I know who it is. It's just not a telemarketer, but something close. So anyway, I was saying it's going to be interesting. I think in North Dakota it's like 15 degrees. Minnesota, North Dakota, that area is like 15 degrees. So we'll see if I freeze or not and how I get back. So that part will be interesting. I'll take a lot of videos and take pictures for my Facebook page. Now, and I know when I get back, I'm going to need a rest for a couple of weeks. These cross-country trips, however they're exciting and interesting that they are hard to do on your body, particularly when you get older, unless you get a roomette and you get taxis or Ubers and you have nice hotels and you have all your meals. I don't like to travel that way. I like to travel on a budget. So right now, in person at home, I'm working on getting in shape, getting my feet in shape. I ruined my feet last year out west, wound up with a broken toe, and one of my toenails just fell off a couple of weeks ago. I would just say it just fell off, and that was a casualty of that. So trying to get a little bit in shape. I found out when I get to Portland, I know you're all probably not interested in this, but just to tell you that it's not an easy trip to just hop on a train, sit and ride for like 6,000 miles. When I get to Portland, I have to walk. Don't have to walk, I can take a bus, but it's 12 blocks to the hostel. I thought it was closer, but it's 12 blocks. If it's anything like the 12 blocks that I walked to Washington, D.C., which was more like 15, or the 20 I walked to from the train stations, talking about to the hotel in New York, it's not a 10-minute walk. So we shall see how that goes. I did buy a suitcase. I will tell everybody I usually don't travel with the suitcase. Now it's wintertime. I have to have heavier clothing to get into 16-degree weather, so I did buy a suitcase. I got a real good deal. I will have one piece in my backpack. Okay, so that's enough on that. So that's exciting. That's why got 2 weeks. I've got a lot to do to get ready. I'll just mark off things each day that I need that I'm not going to forget. All my hacks that I have. If you haven't seen my video on hacks, do that. Now, what am I going to do after that? Well, I'll rest a little bit, then I'm going to upload what I have for you. I hope it's going to be exciting. It may or may not be. We don't know what's going to happen. It's an adventure. But this will be my last train ride of this nature. Now, what I decided that I would do for 2020 for various reasons, and this is more exciting to me, I have decided, and I will announce here now, that I am going to start my hike on the Appalachian Trail. I do not know if I'm going to ever finish it. It's close to 2,200 miles. I'm not going to be a through hiker. With my age, I'm not going to attempt it at all. I will register. I'm going to go through, you can go through, the 3 main categories for that are SOBO, NOBO, and flip-flop, which means SOBO is southern bound. Most people don't do that. You start at Maine. The Appalachian Trail goes from Georgia to Maine. It's the longest hiking trail in the world. I think it's the world that I just read about. So it's from Maine to Georgia. NOBO is for people that start from Georgia. Most people do this. They're going to start in February. NOBO, northbound, Georgia to Maine, and then flip-flop is you start somewhere in the middle and you go to one way or the other and then flop it around. There are other ways I found out, classifications, and what I want to do is I'm going to be a day hiker and then transition into a slacker. I've always been called a slacker anyway, so slacker. What's a day hiker? Day hiker is what it seems. You just go in for the day. You don't spend the night. Slacker is someone who takes their time. They don't do the whole through hike, which takes up to 6 months to do at one time. They'll hike a section or 2 or whatever, and then sometimes they hike for the summer, and then they stop, and then they take a couple of years. Sometimes they take it 10 years or more. They take their time. They're called the slackers, backpacker slackers. So I'm going to be doing a day trip slacking type of hike. It's fortunate for me, and the reason I'm going to do this is because if you see anything about people who, particularly hiking a long way, hiking gets a lot of YouTube videos and press and whatnot. But it's true, people that do anything for like long distance travel, any type of traveling. I won't say you get hooked on it, but you kind of get hooked on doing it. When you get home, you do get depressed because you've got to reacclimate yourself back into society, kind of thing. This is my last train trip, long distance train trip, cross country. So I know I'm going to be depressed. I did it for the challenge, to challenge myself, to get outside my box, my comfort zone. I did my tiny house. I'm changing the subject a little bit, but it has to do with the Appalachian Trail. Excuse me. For those of you who've been following me, I do have a tiny house shell in the Blue Ridge Mountains here in North Carolina. I've learned to live off-grid. It's totally off-grid. My Wi-Fi, my cell phone doesn't even work there. It is totally 100% off-grid. I have 4 acres, and I've learned to do that. The good thing about that is it's prepared me a little bit for the AT, for the Appalachian Trail, which is AT, because a lot of their camps and their shelters are like what my tiny house is, the living part. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of what to do and not to do on my train trips. I've learned a lot of what to do and not to do in my tiny house and how to camp. So I think I'm going to combine the two. And where my tiny house is in the mountains, it's very close to the AT. Excuse me. Several sections of the AT. So I'm going to do those first because I'm familiar with the terrain. I plan to start in Virginia. I don't know when. I think I was going to go around the first part of April, but the campsites there, they don't officially open till May 1st. I don't want to be out there by myself, but with the thru hikers starting in February, they should be kind of, some of them may be on their way. So I'll wait and see how that goes. I'm going to start, my plan is to start around the Grayson Highland area. They have wild ponies there, which is what I want to go see. And I'm going to be hiking. One of the places I'd like to see that would need to take a train, might be late in the summer, maybe next year, I don't know, but I'll try to do it this year, will be at Harper's Ferry, which is harder to hike. But I have been through Harper's Ferry a couple of times on my long distance train trips. It seems like a very nice place. It's always crowded. I couldn't figure out why there were so many people in the middle of nowhere when we went to Harper's Ferry and why we stopped at Harper's Ferry. But now I know what's going on there, and it's a very popular place for thru hikers, the flip-floppers, to start at Harper's Ferry. So hopefully I will bring that to you. What I plan to do, so this is all leading up to what I plan to do. What I plan to do is I won't bring you my vlogs for all of my hikes. A lot of it might be boring. I have another channel that I'll go to for that. I already have a trail name picked out. Get more into that later. But I can tell you where to find me if you're interested. But I will put on this channel, because this channel is about how to see, how to travel inexpensively. It's not about hiking. I would try to go to, if I go to any interesting state parks, like I think the Grayson Highlands, I think that's what they call it, the wild ponies, I think that's a nice place to go. Interesting, looks very interesting to me. If I go to those interesting places, I will put it in both places and I will post it here. So, just to recap, and then too, this is a major birthday for me. If you've stayed with me this long on this video, I thank you. I'm deliberately putting my age last, but it's a milestone birthday for me, and why I want to try to do this and push my limits. In January, I will be 70. So there are not that many people who attempt what I'm attempting at my age and do what I do at my age. I hope to push myself. I hope to give myself some purpose in life, to grow. We never stop growing, and also to maybe help other people along the way by knowing that what I'm doing and seeing what I'm doing. So to recap, really quick, I'm going in 2 weeks to my last cross-country train trip. It will be for 2 weeks. I don't have an iPhone. I have a camera. I live simply. I still have the flip phone. I will upload the videos when I get back. It may be the first of the year before I do that, because I know I'm going to be extremely tired, and I hope my feet will be okay. No worse for the wear, but last summer in the desert it was. And we'll see how it goes, but I will do those and upload that. And then for 2020, I will not be taking any trips except what I take on the AT. I'm going to be starting to hike on the AT. So I want to thank everybody for following me for the short time that I've been on YouTube. I hope to bring you more. I thank everybody for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and like. It does help this channel. It helps the channel get out. Share if you like to share. The more people who see it, the more I can do. So until next year, until next time, which will probably be next year, have a happy holiday and a safe holiday. Talk to you later.